in just a moment and some future guests that you'll be very interested in. You know, I've uh, I got a couple of questions and a couple little statements to say. First off, I got to read this question here from one of our comments that came in. The question is, does everyone in the
Wait for it.
CD group going on the cruise sports IDs and etc.? Well, real quick, let me tell you, I always check in film, always. Now, this is my hair. My driver's license has the hair. My passport has the hair. I've known of people that had some issues like 5, 10 years ago, but I don't know of too many issues these days. They may say, well, let's just get a nice picture, and they're very understanding, and they'll work with you, even though you got your mail ID, passport, and
Oh dear.
all that. When you go in mail mode.
Okay. So when she comes back, we'll let Jennifer know that this is happening while she's
Okay. Poor thing.
or she's not coming back, which then
Well, she's stuck
That
there.
way
Oh,
you
wait.
have
oh, there she
Oh,
is.
there she is.
So Jennifer, you're cutting out quite a bit, unfortunately.
okay.
Do you mind if I mention the guests that we're going to be having in a couple weeks?
Yes, let's go there real quick.
Okay. So we're really excited, guys, because we just confirmed in 2 weeks. So that's October 2nd, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to be interviewing Jessica Blackler. And Jessica Blackler is the owner of and a creator of Jecca Black Makeup. And Jecca Black Makeup is a gender-free vegan makeup that supports makeup wearers of all kinds. So originally, she was a makeup artist, and she got asked to help some trans people to learn how to address their particular issues. And from there, she realized that there was a need in the market for makeup that could help diverse issues. And then she became her mission to support all wearers of makeup, no matter what your expression, your gender, your size, your shape, your color. So something that works for everyone. And so they're actually part of the L'Oreal Innovations. So I'm kind of curious as to what that means to her, if that means that she is like a subsidiary of L'Oreal, but we'll talk about that kind of stuff. So a lot of their products are based to create solutions for diverse needs. So one of the founding products that they was like a beard concealer. So really going above and beyond kind of what was already out there, which is not very good. And they're trying to make products that were really usable for people that didn't necessarily know how to do it. They have like booklets for all different kinds of people. So it's not makeup that's just for a cross-dresser, it's all inclusive. So they have in their booklets information about for cross-dressers, for trans, for somebody with a round face, for somebody that's thin, and different issues you might have, or pigmentation corrections and stuff, that they kind of talk about it all. So she's going to be a really informative, a really fun person to talk to.
You know, what's really nice is that I did go to her site real quick in my busy schedule.
Sorry, guys.
The whole time.
So new rule, every time Jennifer freezes, you have to take a drink. So everybody go get your wine or
And it was
sorry, Jennifer. You froze, Jen.
did I freeze? Am I freezing now? Good Lord.
Yeah,
You know,
for the moment,
all right.
you're fine.
Nope, there we go.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I just wanted to say that. Why don't you guys continue for a minute? I'm going to try to recycle my phone.
Okay,
Okay.
that sounds like a plan.
All righty.
Okay. Well, Victoria, I wasn't necessarily ready to be the lead today, so I'm going to wing it. So I'm hoping that you can kind of give everybody a basis of who you are and kind of explain to them, because obviously you're the wife of a crossdresser, but kind of give us a backstory of when did you find out that your spouse is a crossdresser? If you have a family, and how all of this kind of puts together to who you are.
Absolutely. So, my name's Victoria. I have been married to Lily for about 30 years. She came out to me while we were dating. We met on an online app, and then about a month into us dating, she, told me, "Hey, I like to wear women's clothing." And at first I thought it was like hey, I like to do this in the bedroom kind of thing, had no clue about anything about the community or any of what it means, but we kind of evolved together, and she's got to become more open about herself and everything. And, she helped me do some, like, I've never worn makeup in my life until I met her. And she helped me come up and do all my different, teach me how to do contour and all this kind of stuff, We do have kids. We have one kid together. He's about 20 months old. I have 2 kids from a previous marriage. They're 18 and 13. And then we have 4 kind of adopted kids. It's my daughter's best friend stays with us, and then my best friend's 3 kids stay with me too. So I technically have 7 kids. So we're definitely busy with that all the time. Lily can't be here because of work kind of thing too, so she's constantly working. But that's kind of the basis of where we're at.
Yeah, sure. So tell me, you said that Lily came out about a month into dating. How did that conversation come out, and how did she present that information to you?
Well, we were, it was actually texting. And she told me, she's like, "I have something to tell you. Tell me if this is okay or not," and she told me, and we clicked almost immediately. We had talked for about 2 weeks before we met online, and just instantly fell in love. And so then she texted me and said, "You're back. You're upside down."
You're your phone, girlfriend.
Sorry. And then we there we go. Sorry, trying to decide if I should wait for her or not. There you go.
Continue. She'll pop in.
Okay. So she texted me and asked me that question, and then she's like, "I like to wear women's clothing sometimes." And like I said, I thought it was like kind of in the bedroom thing, and at first I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And at that time, this is going to sound really bad now that I know like more about the community and all this kind of stuff. But at that time I was like, as long as you don't like pull a Caitlyn Jenner and leave me when you're older and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, "No, absolutely not. That's not what we're going for." We kind of laughed off. And then later on, I got to know, I realized that she liked to dress up when she was stressed out. I realized that, she liked to dress up and play video games. It wasn't necessarily for just the bedroom, Then I started learning about gender dysphoria and stuff like that and what that means. And then I came to grow, okay, this is more for her mental health, more for her to feel like normal, and it became more of not that way at all, So that's kind of how the conversation went before, and how we kind of grew into it a little bit more. Most of our kids know, and most of them, and what she came out to are one of my oldest daughters, and because my oldest daughter came out as bisexual, and she just wanted to tell her it doesn't have to rule your life. This is something just for you, like it doesn't matter what you do, or who you like or anything like that, just be you. And thought that was wonderful. So most of our kids know and are okay with it, and yeah.
Now you have a unique dynamic then, because you have kids from another person. I don't know if they're involved in their life at all. Is that a conversation you've had with your previous significant other?
They both both of those kids know. My 18-year-old, she's a daughter, and I have a 13-year-old son. Apparently they've known for a long time. Since Lily and I were dating, and they found a picture of her on the computer, but they never said anything, never acted any different, never said anything about it. And then one day, about maybe 6 months ago, I was talking to my 18-year-old, and Lily and I were dressing more and more at home, and it was just getting awkward to like hold the phone in a different angle or different things, and finally I just was like, I know you know. And she's like, yeah, I know. and we talked about it a little bit more, and they haven't really seen her in person. They kind of expressed that they're not really ready for that, but they know it exists, and apparently their dad knows too.
Okay.
And I wasn't prepared for that, but he actually told them, I don't care what she what she does, how that works. That's something that they do in their personal time. I don't ever want you to disrespect him. I don't want you to treat it any differently. And I was actually really impressed with that, because
That's
as you know, ex-husbands may not always go the best.
Right. No, that's amazing. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, do you want to pop in? Glad we have you back.
Yeah.
Or maybe she can't hear.
Take
a shot, everybody. Okay.
Well,
we're gonna keep on going.
It's still broken up?
Sorry.
Is it still? I can't figure out why.
Bad reception. I don't know. Did you reboot your Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Reboot your router. But
I'll give that a try. I mean, it's like 5 feet from me, but I'll give it a try. You're doing a great job, by the way. We're going to start the Elizabeth show before we know it. I can be your co-host, maybe.
You'll be back. We can't live without you, Jennifer. So, hey. So I know I got distracted. I'm sorry.
No.
Well, that's really amazing that your ex, is totally cool with that. How many other people in your extraneous life know? Do other ones of your family members know, or?
Mm-hmm. His family knows, or her family, sorry, knows a little bit. I don't know that they know like how much that we do now, or I assume most of them just assume it stopped when we got married or whatever, but nobody's asked questions or anything like that. So we just kind of let that be, because they weren't too keen on it before he met me. So I came out, finally told my best friend probably about 8 months ago. And it was when Lily told my daughter, the 18-year-old, that came out as bisexual. And I was kind of unsure how to take that she was telling other people. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about with Jennifer, was that, like, I didn't want to tell people yet, Lynn, and that's one thing I want some cross-dressers to realize, is that when you're married and you're in that relationship and you're as one now, yes, it is your process, and everybody needs to go tell people, but you need to consider your spouse's point of view too, and make sure they're on board and ready. Because now I'm like, oh my gosh, well, what is she going to think, and who is she going to tell, and how's this going to work? And all these things are running through my head, because I wasn't quite ready for it yet, and so it's just something to keep in mind and be sensitive about,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What did Lily do that, in consideration of you? What things did you ask for her to hold off on? Or
I didn't want any of the kids to know at first, because I wasn't sure. I had just come into the Instagram and met some people that were the same, that cross-dressed and everything. So I knew nothing about it, So I was worried about, are the kids going to treat them differently? Are the kids is this going to affect their mental state? Like, I have no clue how any of this works, Mm-hmm. And so I would just ask to hold off, and she told our daughter without us. And then I didn't know that she had told our daughter for quite a while afterwards. I kind of figured it out. And then, and so that was the biggest thing, was like, kind of like, oh my gosh. So that's one thing, is just making sure that everybody knows to keep, that's why, I'm here to make sure, keep the spouses, consider their feelings, talk to them. If you're ready to tell somebody, let them know, hey, I'm ready to do this. Are you ready? This is what's going to happen. Discuss the consequences. Not, there shouldn't be any consequences, but in the world we live in, you never know. So, but not only so they know my parents, I told them, my parents were completely okay with it. They didn't mind at all. They were excited. They're probably going to watch later. So hi, Mom. No. And then some people at Lily's work found out there was a girl that when he's in mail mode, when he's at work, he was really close to him. They talked about makeup all the time. And then one day he finally just came out and told her, well, apparently they had actually found Lily's Instagram page, a whole bunch of them. So they had actually, quite a few of them had already known for a little bit. Again, nobody says anything. Nobody cares. Everybody just, as long as you do your job, nobody's going to comment on it, So that was really refreshing. It's still not something that she necessarily wants to walk out and down the street and tell the world yet, but yeah.
And you guys do have quite a few different Instagram pages and stuff. And we're going to talk about that more at the end. We want to go over to Patreon and talk about social media with you and how you guys work social media. But what is your thought on Instagram? Because it's kind of hit or miss for me. Okay, I'm a cis female. I'm, heterosexual. I am friends with, obviously now with cross-dressers, but I'm not a cross-dresser. I don't have a spouse that's a cross-dresser. And you kind of have the two modes, I feel, when you go on Instagram. You have those that just want to share their expression, look at this outfit I have and stuff. And then you have the ones that want to show their fanny a lot. And so then obviously cross-dressing is a little bit more of a sexual thing for them. So how did you feel about that when you were first going on Instagram and seeing this as a significant other that hadn't been exposed to it?
Yeah. When she first told me she opened the page, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what kind of, I'm a photographer, and that's one of the things that Lily and I do is she gets dressed up and I take her picture and everything, but we never really showed them to anybody else, And I'm like, I don't know about sharing, and it's going to bring in unwanted attention, but that's part of the cross-dressing is getting that attention, showing, for her. And so most of the time it's okay. There is some people that, you get guys that talk that you don't really want to talk to, but you block them and it should be okay. I'm all for people showing stuff, but at the same time, like Lily and I, she's like, I won't show anything that doesn't, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? We like to leave it up to the imagination, like if it comes to that kind of stuff. So
did it make you question, though, the cross-dressing when you first saw different people's pages, or, did that make you concerned at all? I guess. Concerned about think about other wives of cross-dressers or girlfriends that just discover, and they go to find information on cross-dressing, and they start going on Instagram and looking up cross-dressing, and they might find some very innocent things, and they might find some really not innocent things. Did that concern you? I mean, when you saw that, were you like, oh, what kind of a cross-dresser is he? Or
yeah, I thought that, like, there was questions of like, I found this, do you like this kind of stuff? Like, what are we doing here? And it's just all about communication. And we've both always said, as awkward as the conversation could possibly be in this circumstance, you have to have those conversations. So yeah, there's been stuff I found, and I'm like, and like one of the questions, that came in my mind when he told me, and I realized the gender dysphoria and all this, I'm like, are you actually attracted to males? Like, is that a thing? And like, we had to have that conversation to see where we were at and if it would still work. And so it did concern me, and does cross-dressing, one thing that people say is cross-dressing leads to wanting to transition and all this stuff. And I've had some ugly conversations with people that say, you're not going to be enough, and she's going to want to transition and everything. And Lily's always told me 100%, don't, you know, that's not what this is about. That's not what I want to do. You know, we want to have more kids. Obviously you can't do that if you transition, that kind of stuff, you know? So yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, go ahead.
am I coming in okay?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. That's one of the major issues that I have with the whole cross-dressing, trans, or whatever, you know, is that there's a predisposition with a lot of the transgender community that think just because we want to express our feminine side, that this is the first step down the road. They don't understand this is the first step and the only step.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that is why a lot of men hide in the closet, because their fear of coming out and people saying and being branded on something we're not. And no one wants to be branded what they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we're here, and we're trying to help not only the cross-dresser, but you being a wife or family members, loved ones. It's about having the knowledge, the awareness, the communication, developing the tools, you know, and it's okay to talk about some things that are difficult. In fact, it is healthy. It's healthy. Next week, we're going to have another couple on, and she approached me, you know, and give you an idea. I want to read this. She wrote this to us, you know, and I want to read this because it, to me, was really heartfelt. And this is the kind of thing that really helps me to keep going with all this. And she wrote, "He's more relaxed than I've ever seen him. Thanks to your podcast, he learned about the pink cloud, and it helped me a lot. He was so excited about being able to be free for the first time in his life that he forgot about how I was feeling. You've helped us immensely, and I thank you for being such a positive force in our lives. Your podcast truly made a difference in our life together." That's why we're here. And, you know, like, and I can just appreciate you and the next couple, because she went online, she had similar things, and she found all this stuff, and it, you know, that's why we need to step in. You know, there's so much misconception, and there's so many people out there are going to say and do whatever they want, especially images and concepts that we even want to have lay our eyes on it. And that because they're trying to make a buck off us. And it's totally wrong. So this is why we're here. There's a really good, wholesome family culture here that's waiting to come out. And that's what I want. Before we get too far into things, a couple things. If you're watching our podcast here, go down to the lower right-hand corner down here and subscribe to us, like us, always like us. Whenever you go and watch our videos, that really helps us. And we've got this cruise coming up. I'm going to be putting a lot more information about the cruise on YouTube. And you can go to crossdresstravel.com. And there's information there about the cruise. It's going to be Halloween of next year. You got lots of time to plan, to get things together. And you can, I'll tell you, you want to take your closet with you. Everything you have, you want to go. I know people that make 5 changes a day because they say, I want to wear everything. I haven't had a chance to wear this or that or something. I can do it. And you're totally accepted all the way around. Totally. And Patreon, that's there too. And I probably had something else, but I will save that for later. Oh, I wanted to have you take a moment and address first off, the cross-dressers. If they're going to come out and talk to their wives, their girlfriends, family, what would be the key points you would recommend to any male cross-dresser that's going to talk about something?
The first thing is come out and be honest as soon as you know, especially when it comes to wives or girlfriends, because there's times where people, you know, don't tell them for 10 years down the road. And I hear stories of, you know, my wife wants to leave me now because she doesn't, you know, you have, and then, so the first thing is be honest as soon as possible. And the second thing is to take some grace when you're talking to them and be prepared for any reaction and be okay with any reaction. The biggest key part that I found out was I needed to understand and I needed to have knowledge about what this meant for me to truly be able to accept it. And it took me a long time to get there to where, I mean, I always accepted it and I was okay with it, but I didn't really know what I was dealing with. And so when you come out, and if you know, you come out and it's been a while and you've been with this person for a while, you know, they may take it and they have to realize that you're almost two different identities when you cross dress sometimes, you know, and so they feel like they're meeting a new person. They feel like there's another person in the marriage. You know, that's something they have to kind of work through and make sure it's okay with them.
Wow, that's great advice. Now, can you take a moment and do the same thing with the females out there that, like you, have been searching for knowledge, searching for something? How do I get started with this? I got a boyfriend and it's really great. And I ran across his stuff and we had this conversation. And it's like, you know, I want to be supportive. This is weird, whatever. You know, what would you say to the females?
Okay. With the females, I would say, when you're listening to them and they're coming out to you, don't be afraid to ask questions. Make sure you get as much knowledge of what this means to them. It could be simply that they just, you know, they feel comfortable and they just want to do it at home. You know, do they want to go out in public? You know, don't Google cross-dressing. I found that out the hard way. There's a lot of like anti people, either it's bad stories or it's stuff you don't want to find or anything. You know, there's so many great things on Instagram. There's so many great people out there that are, you know, trying to get the word out and everything. That's where I found all my knowledge that I needed, you know. And just my biggest thing was just Lily and I always, you know, I've said it already, but as awkward as the conversation is, as awkward as the question may be, don't be afraid to ask it, because you're not going to know how to handle this situation, you know, even if it's sexual and do you like this or is this part of this, you know, don't be afraid to have those conversations because you're always going to wonder, you know.
One of our listeners was asking specifically, and I think you kind of hit on it, is where did you find your information when you were first researching cross-dressing? And you're just saying that, you know, you were having a hard time finding it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
Instagram then, or?
I would definitely say Instagram. There was a couple things I found on Facebook, but you had to like join the group, and I wasn't sure how to join the group or answer the questions to join the group because I knew nothing about it. And so Instagram was great. Like I literally typed in cross-dressing wife, and then Deb, the cross-dresser's wife, popped up. Sure. And I love her to death. She answered a lot of my questions. She sent me to a couple other wives that she knew, and she helped me kind of gain a little bit more perspective. You know, told me her story and everything that made me feel a little bit better. You know, my biggest thing was like, how does this work with kids? You know, like, how do we do this? And you know, Deb kind of explained to me how her story went, and I've talked to other people, and that helped me kind of guide where I wanted to go.
Did you find there's a lot of misleading information then?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, almost everything I found before I found that was all sexualized. And every question Lily and I had for her was all sexual stuff, you know. And there may be some aspect to that, but that's totally not at all like what this entails 100%, you know. And so, yeah.
Well, what's interesting when you mentioned about sexualized and the cross-dresser specifically, there's a lot of data that is pointing in a direction that true cross-dressers, when they get into, I like me, I came out later in life. I think I was in my late 40s or something when it hit me, you know, it's like, boom, you know, there it was. And you get into a sort of a sexual phase for a short period of time, and then you start settling into something more. And it's not the sexual thing because you're enjoying this other aspect. And you really create something beautiful then. And I know that when I cross dress, I change. I become softer and gentler and more talkative and out there. You know, really, it was Jennifer who brought me, the shy male, out of the closet, you might say, and fear of you know, feeling like I didn't fit in and that kind of thing, and brought me out. So it's been a blessing to me. And I
mean, it's funny that you say it that way, because that's definitely, like, in the beginning, I know for Lily it was more of kind of a sexual thing and different and stuff. And after we had our son, he's about 20 months old, and she was able just to dress up and come sit on the couch and watch a movie with us. Or, you know, we started doing like live shows where we cook a dinner together, and that's all she wants to do now. You know, like, it's definitely come into a more just, I just want to relax and be with you and be me. Like, it doesn't have to do anything, you know? So,
yeah.
Do you talk, I'm sorry, do you talk
Go ahead.
about Lily as like another person? Or, because I know, like, when I posted one of your pictures today that Lily did your makeup.
Yeah.
And when you made that post, you said, when my wife did my makeup. So do you think of Lily as a separate person, or is it just two sides of the same coin?
It's kind of two sides of the same coin. Because, I mean, when he's in male mode, he's done my makeup before too, and it's fine. So, but when I'm talking about him dressed up, I try to make sure I use a she, you know. But it's hard because he's in male mode a lot of the times, and so I end up using the wrong pronoun, but luckily he's okay with all that. So, but yeah, no, but I do know that, like, when he is Lily and when he is my husband, there are different personalities, like you said, that come out. You know, he's more talkative and fun, and wants to do something different. And like when we get on the live and we're talking and stuff, that, you know, he's so more outgoing and everything. And then when he's in male mode, I don't think anybody would ever notice or ever imagine this is the person he is, you know. So I think it's really cool, but it also has brought out some more positive things in his male mode. He's more talkative now. He's not afraid to have conversations and different things. So
that's awesome.
Well, he and I have a lot in common then, that's for sure. So
definitely.
Well, along those lines, because I said my wife, now you got married and then you got remarried, did you not? Can you tell us a little about that? So, because I know this is probably a fantasy for a lot of cross-dressers that you had your wedding, but then you proceeded to have another wedding with Lily.
Well, I mean, I haven't had a wedding with Lily yet. But I was, you know, I'm married. I did have, I was married and I got remarried to somebody else. But I got remarried to Lily, but he was in male form, not necessarily in female form.
I thought that you did get married with like Lily in a dress.
No, that's definitely a fantasy though. That's definitely, she's been sending me hints, like pictures of wedding dresses and stuff. So maybe we'll have to do that soon.
I'm crossing my cross-dresser. Wrong couple. Sorry.
But that's true. Okay. It really is a huge fantasy. And, you know, it's like, it's interesting is when I was a member of a Tri-S group in Orlando, Florida, back some years ago. And it's all like, we all had our, like a bucket list or our girl list. And we say, I did this in film. You mark the box off, you know, and these are all things. It's sort of like, yes, you know, but it's not like you don't want to be the girl. You want to enjoy that particular uniqueness that women have and the opportunities that they can have. And so we can taste that in a sense, you know, and I feel it makes us far better in our relationships with our wife, our girlfriend, whoever, and also any female in our life, or we happen by pretty much. You know, there's a higher respect level.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. just the, makeup aspect alone. Lily and my daughter will sit here for hours and try to do each other's makeup and come up with new techniques and everything. And she's so just, she's very much into it. She's very good, as you can obviously see. So knowing that, and little things like the chest plate she had originally was very large, and then she walked around town, and at one time and she was like, this hurts my back. Oh my gosh, you do this every day. I'm like, oh yeah. But it was something, she so definitely had a new appreciation for it, so yeah.
That's so funny. I did notice that before, that Lily had a really big chest plate. Yeah, that was something.
So it was really cool. She tried on a dress once that wouldn't fit with that big chest plate, and she learned how to contour her chest, and just the elation on her face when she tried this on. She's like, I feel like I'm me. I don't have to wear anything. I don't have to do anything. And then all of a sudden she started going back to just being herself and finding stuff that's more comfortable, and like not necessarily wearing that. Yes, she enjoys it sometimes, but it doesn't have to be all the time. And that was really cool. That was kind of a big opening for her. So
do you feel like that was one of her like kind of pink fog moments, that I want the big rack, and just living it large, literally, but then you grow past that as you're you come to light in your cross-dressing.
It's almost like you're doing this exploration of finding yourself. And you find a set point, an anchor point that is you, that's unique to yourself. And so you may experiment in different ways and I'm sure that women have their version of that too.
Oh yeah.
And it's all new to us. And we kind of have to go fast through this because women have had a lot more time to develop their being a woman. So we have to kind of fast track. Yeah.
The same with makeup with her too. Originally, if you look at some of her older pictures, she's got a lot of makeup on, a lot, and then recently she just started, wearing a little bit less or making it look more natural. And that she feels amazing, that she's like, I feel again, more me. This is me, not necessarily has to wear all that, so that was really cool.
I just had to mention that Davina on Facebook says that they're thinking about getting remarried on their 35th anniversary with her in a dress. So pretty amazing.
You want to be live?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I saw one of our other friends on there. Her wife gave her, they've been married for like 10 years, and the wife gave her a ring recently and like wanted to marry them and everything. And I was like, oh, so yeah, that's definitely in the works eventually. So yeah, that's beautiful.
That is. I've heard of wonderful stories. I haven't had one yet that we can, put on the air, which I would love to do. I would love to do that, because especially when they got married and he's a male, and then she comes back to him and proposes to him. I've heard of that. And talking about really feeling like she loves me, no matter who I am, boy, she just, hooked him for the rest of his life, and he wants to be there. I mean, for someone that would do that, he would give his life for. Yes.
Cool. I love it.
So I missed some of the earlier stuff, so I may wind up with a question that's already been covered or something, but what can you describe for the men? For the men, the crossdresser, when he told you the emotions right there, the emotions that you felt, that the initial shock, those emotions, and for shortly thereafter.
When he first came out to me, I know that my reaction's probably different than most people's. I was honestly like, maybe for 20 seconds, I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming whatsoever. And he texted it to me, and it took me about 30 seconds to respond with, I love you with who you are, for who you are. It doesn't matter what you wear. Sure. you know, and then I made a joke about it, which was probably not okay. And then, and then we moved on, and yeah. But I know later on when I realized that it was more, I think it was later on that I had more emotions about it, because when I realized there was more like gender dysphoria, there was more, I like to do this when I'm anxious or sad, or this is how I relax, you know. That's when a lot more questions came out for me, like, what does this mean? Are you going to, you know, transition? Do you like men? Do you like, all these thoughts were going through my head when I realized that there's more to this than just a good time per se, if that makes any sense, you know.
You've mentioned gender dysphoria a couple times, and that's almost something I think of more with trans necessarily than cross-dressing, in just from my observations. And you can't say, you know, any one thing is the stereotype, just because there's so many different facets. But for, you know, sake, that I feel like cross-dressing is just this other aspect of this person that needs to happen. It needs to come out. Now, do you really feel like Lily was dysphoric, or no, is it just something that was always there?
I think, you know, like, I guess coming across that term, that was the best way to describe what it was, because it is something that when she feels anxious, when she's, you know, any kind of mood but happy, you know, that's instantly where she wants to go. That's her safe place, you know. And so that made me, that's why I think it is. But I think that it's something that's always been there.
Yeah.
You know, whenever she tells her story, she'll tell you that, you know, she's dreamed of this since she remembers being really little and dreaming of dressing up and stuff, you know. So yeah.
I do find though that when the pressures of their male life, you know, become too much, or it's a lot going on at work, or I got to pay these bills and you know, stuff starting to come in on them, that's when they want to express. They want to get out and get away from that maleness and those pressures, and enjoy the kind of freeingness of going on femme.
Yeah.
I think what it does, you know, I've wrestled with this myself. You know, the question is, am I trying to run from myself? This something like that. And I've thought about it because when I get stressed, I like going there too. And that's what a lot of men like. They go there. And I think what it is, or it could be, is that they go there and they find a peace, which then they could use to find clarity, to go back and slay the beast, you know, whatever. You know, but they just needed some clarity, and this gave them that chance. So that's part of it. It's not going to be all of it, but that's part, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm new to all this, so when I see like that term just seemed to fit the situation. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's to a large extent is really not appropriate for us.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's dysphoric. And I think they want to use that a lot because they don't understand us. They tag us as being like transgender who want to be a woman. So you have a dysphoria there. But I'd like to come up with something different for us.
Yeah.
That's why I use cross-dresser versus a trans person.
Exactly.
Because we don't want to be. We like what we be. We like our pieces and parts and things in there that are men. We like that. And we love our women. It's just that this facet that we have, and I've mentioned before that cross-dressing is a facet on everyone's individual beautiful diamond, because we're all a beautiful diamond with many wonderful facets, and it is just one of our facets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Well, I think we're getting to a point that we need to go over to our Patreon side. And I invite our audience to go and sign up for Patreon. That helps us out a lot. And we got some great content over that you only find on Patreon. And it really helps us out, and it shows your support for us. And we can keep bringing you the real depth. We want to get, as I say, to the guts of it, get right down to it so we can sort it out and really get rid of that other stuff that you see on the internet and get right to it.
Victoria, before we go, can you please tell us where they can find you and Lily on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm Miss Victoria, MISS Victoria 8487 on Instagram, and Lily is Lily the Lollipop Girl, Lily the Lollipop Girl at Instagram, and then also with a number 7 too. She has 2 accounts because she. Yeah.
And then, so we're going to go over to Patreon and talk about some of the things that you guys do with your social media and going live and some of your membership type stuff. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Next week, like I said, we're going to have this other wonderful couple, and she really wants to talk from a female wife point of view about the crossdresser and their relationship, their marriage, how that can be beneficial to everyone. And that's going to be another really good one. We have 2 good ones in a row. So stay tuned. We got more good stuff coming for you. And we're going to Patreon.